Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Dan and as always I am bringing you the best and most updated weekly analysis. My expectations what's going to happen in the next week in the stock market, crypto market. What are the moves, what are the actual news, what the people are thinking, what's the sentiment, everything covered to the stock market and crypto. You can get it on my channel, so please subscribe, watch the video all the way till the end because there's many useful info coming your way. Now, as always, we're going to head right away to the charts and start with Nasdaq 100 technical analysis. Okay, guys, so as you can see, Nasdaq had this huge rally, which we spoke about in all the previous videos, and finally we broke the 6-week winning streak because last week closed slightly in red. It actually went up a bit, but it ended in red. So the streak, a winning streak of 6 green weeks has actually been ended. Now, Nasdaq still, I told you, looks overextended. And this small red period or cool down period is just nothing in comparison what should come. So what I do expect, as always, let me just get a brush to mark, is the pullback at least to break this area over here of 14,300 or so. I really hope that we're gonna break it and come back down to 13,700. Okay, so this should be at least the minimum pullback that we should see on Nasdaq in order to continue this bullish movement, because guys, we're using too much power and too much fuel. You see all these big green candles, right? Those are big guys buying, okay? Everybody, like retail traders, big guys, everybody combined buying. But then big guys at some point will want to take profits. They take profits quarterly. We just had an amazing earnings season. So it just makes sense after all this run from, what was it, from the January to May, we had this huge upside of, what was it, almost, yeah, not almost, but 4,000 points on Nasdaq. 4,000 points. That's really good. And we're back in the bull market territory as well, both Nasdaq and S&P 500. So are we really in a bull market? I wouldn't say so, but okay. Anyways, that being said, back to the chart. So I do expect a pullback to 13,700 somewhere in the near future, but we're gonna talk about news later on. So stay tuned, do not miss it out, because there's some big news happening this week and the pullback might not happen yet. We might continue and finally go to 15,000 area, which sounds scary, 15,200 or so, and that can be supported by Fed interest rate decision. Okay, but we're gonna talk about it later. Now let's, the chart itself, all the indicators are not showing anything special. We're just sitting here in this area, which we couldn't break last week. Now let me zoom in a little bit further. See these big wicks? These big wicks is something that I don't want to see in a bullish scenario. That means that we can't break this supply area over here. And they are actually giving me, actually confirming my bearish bias. I was kind of too bearish and I was kind of too bearishly oriented for the last, let's say, 2 weeks. My bias was actually quite strong to the bearish side, and that's not good. So you should always clear your head, take only facts and what you see in the market and act upon it. What I see now, clear-headed, without any bias, is these big wicks on a daily chart that do support that we cannot break this supply area, and I do really think that we're going to pull back minimum back to 14,200, but I would like to see a bigger pullback to 13,700 area, as I've already said. If we have a strong move to the upside, something like this, and we break this supply area, then I will be long oriented. What I want to see in that case scenario will be just something retest of this area 14,600, just to continue all the way to 15,200. So as I already told you, I would really want to see a cool down on Nasdaq, because this is a little bit too over exaggerated. It's becoming too heavy. But if it doesn't happen, if we break out, and only if we break out with force this area, that's where I'll be looking for long on the pullback and on the way to 15,000 plus. Okay, on the daily chart on Nasdaq, we do have a slight bearish divergence here on RSI and MACD, as you can see right over here in these areas. So that's another support of the bearish scenario. Now when we zoom in on the 4-hour chart, this actually gives us even bigger bearish bias. So as you can see, still we have these huge bearish divergences on MACD and RSI. So yeah, basically guys, I don't know, I'm still short oriented. What might happen as well is when the Fed makes the decision is going to be a typical buy the rumors, sell the news event. So buy the rumors mean a build-up of hype prior to the event itself, and then when the event itself happens or the decision is made, boom, people start exiting, selling, and all this other stuff. Anyways, that will be all for Nasdaq. So to sum it up, I would really like to see from this point a retest of 14,200, and if we break it, then retest of 13,700, just so we turn around and maybe continue going back up. But we're gonna take week by week. Now let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin weekly chart does not look good. Crypto in general does not look good, guys. So I'm gonna zoom in right away actually to the daily chart, because on the daily chart last time I spoke about this descending triangle, and I told you how in crypto all these charts are actually reverted, how they actually don't break the way they're supposed to do. Because the descending triangle is a pattern that breaks to the downside, but this time actually it did break to the downside. It broke here to the downside, then we bought back up, then we broke it down again. Now I'm gonna talk about later why it broke down and what are the fundamental reasons of why did this move happen, because just remember, all these technical analysis is just that, this technical analysis. Behind all these moves, there's actual macroeconomic explanation of why they happened, okay? And the fundamental explanation of why each and every move happened. But actually this pattern worked this time, and as we can see, this support area over here of 25,000 is holding really strong. And I do believe that if we hold strong in this area right over here, if we continue holding strong, something similar to this will happen. If we have some kind of resolution or good news for crypto, something similar to this will happen, and we will finally go, I believe, if we catapult to the upside, if we have a parabolic move, it's going to be higher than 32k. However, I don't think things look really good. Again, I'm going to talk about it later why. And I do believe that if we break this 25k area, we're definitely not stopping until 21 or even maybe sub 20 or somewhere 20s area. So at the moment, the good thing is that even with all these bad news that are coming our way, we are still holding strong. We are still holding this area of 25k, but if we start breaking down further, definitely we're going back 22 or 20,000 area. Now the indicators are not telling us much. Actually, just let me have a look on on MACD. We do have a slight bullish divergence, and just let me see on RSI, not really. We do have something small over here, but it's not that really relevant. And let me go on 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart does show pretty nice, as you can see, bullish divergence on both MACD and RSI, and this is actually the area that you want to buy. So basically now, if you're gonna buy now, and then maybe expect a move back to somewhere 27,000 area, and if we hold the 27,000 area, that's where we actually go higher, as I already told you. So this upcoming week, if you want to buy it here, because this is the area as per technical analysis to buy. Okay, now let's move on to some news. Give me just 1 second to set it up. Okay, economic calendar for this week brings huge decisions. Okay, federal interest rate decision. I'm gonna ignore everything else on this calendar. This right over here on Wednesday 14th of June is going to be giving us the continuation of the moment, or we're gonna break down to the downside. Basically, it's a decision maker, okay? Interest rate decision. Now, everybody is expecting from the Fed to pause interest rates this month and maybe hike them next month or something. Now, if they decide to hike it now and then pause later, it's going to create a reverse momentum at the moment. I do believe we're going to break to the downside if they hike the rates up. Definitely we're going to see lower levels on all these instruments, and I would advise you before the interest rates, if you have some nice profits, please take at least partial profits. It's always good to take money. Take partial profits, reward yourself for the patience that you have, continue holding afterwards, and maybe buy back with some lower levels, because they will come next month, month after that, end of the year. Market cannot just go in a straight line. If market just went all the way up in a straight line, it will be bull market forever and we will all be billionaires by now. So anyway, back to the economic calendar. Monday, nothing crazy. Tuesday, CPI data is going to tell us how the inflation is going. It should show a lower, but if inflation shows higher readings, oh my god, guys, okay, be ready then, brace yourself. It's going to start getting real bad from Tuesday already. And then on Wednesday we have PPI, Producer Price Index, and then of course interest rates decision and FOMC. FOMC, you can watch it on their YouTube channel. They have when they do the statement. And the important part, guys, as always, is not going to be only the interest rate itself. It's going to be guidance. So if Powell says we decided to hike 25%, 25 BPS or 0.25% rate hike, but we decided that no further rates increases are necessary, and we decide that most probably by the end of the year we're gonna start rate cuts. Even though they increased the 25 BPS, the market will go wild, because that means one thing: pivot. And everybody's waiting for pivot. Pivot always brings you this catalyst of good news, and new start of the new bull market usually starts with the Fed pivot when they start quantitative easing again. So, but if he says we're gonna pause now, but we expect at least 2 more hikes or something like that, something like really negative, then the market will take it negatively, even though they paused it right now, because the guidance, the future guidance, is what matters when Fed talks. You want to see what they're planning. So far, whatever they said, first time they actually did it. They said we're gonna keep increasing the rates, they kept increasing the rates. They said we're gonna keep holding it all the way to 2023. So far they're holding it. There's no cuts on the table. They didn't mention any cuts so far. But of course that changes all the time. So keep an eye on FOMC interest rate decision, but more importantly on the guidance part. So you want to see some guidance that tells us that pivot is soon coming, okay? Now Thursday we have, of course, core retail sales and initial jobless claims as always, Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, retail sales, but all of this will not matter too much after the decision. And Friday, nothing basically. Friday we're just gonna be either pump or dump day, okay? Everything relies on Fed decision. Now let's move on to some news. Overly optimistic analyst earnings estimates can be a Trojan horses, okay? Now, why I chose this specific news is I just want to show you something. It says over here, of course, the reason for the high beat rate is, as is always the case, is due to the sharp downward revision in analyst estimates as the reporting period begins. The chart below shows the estimate changes for the first quarter of 2023 from February 2022, when analysts provided their first estimate. So basically, why so many people, 78% actually beat the expectations, the companies? Because the original estimations were just keep getting downgraded and lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered. And this part is what I like, this sentence over here. It's called millennial earnings season. Beat the drastically lowered bar and everyone gets a trophy. So basically they literally set them up so low standards that it would be a surprise if they didn't beat them, right? So the companies started from this expectations to here, and actually, of course, if you don't beat even that, then you know you better be just not doing any business at all. So the bar was being lowered just to show that the companies are still doing strong, that the economy is doing well, and all this kind of stuff. So guys, don't be fooled. You know, it's a double-edged sword. But still, I told you in the last video, all these AI hype, all these, it's like dot-com bubble hype, right? One of them, and I really think, and I really believe it's going to be Nvidia, because it's a leader in the hype, AI hype and all this stuff. One of them when it doesn't provide the results that they were promising the first quarter, so that means even in the next one, I'm telling you it's gonna be a bloodbath. If they miss, the first time they miss the expectation, remember it happened with Tesla, the first time they miss expectation, the stock at Tesla plummeted like, I don't know, 50% or something. So, AI hype, Nvidia, AMD, whatever, Intel, the first time they miss expectations set by the analyst, their stock is going to plunge by another 30, 40, 50%. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I really hope it doesn't, but trust me, it will happen. Mark my words, I'm gonna play this video again when it happens. Now let's move on to crypto news. Guys, crypto hasn't had good news for the last year. Literally last year was just worse and terrible news. Now, I'm gonna interpret these bad news to you in a good way, and I'm gonna tell you why they might be good. Let's start with Binance, Coinbase head to court, and the SEC labels 67 crypto securities. Hodler's Digest, June 4 to 10. US SEC sues Binance and Coinbase amidst crypto crackdown, etc. So then Crypto.com suspends institutional UX exchange service. Binance US suspends USD deposits, warns of fiat withdrawal pause. Now guys, why? This is like a final battle. Look at this, like Lord of the Rings final battle, or any movie. Look at it, Braveheart with Mel Gibson, you know, freedom. We might be yelling freedom at the end of it. Anyway, why is this good? Because this is like SEC against top crypto major players and exchanges, which is Binance, Coinbase, etc. Okay. Now, why is it good? Because whoever wins this battle, doesn't matter, because it's going to provide us something that we've been looking for a very long time, and that is, as I've been saying, is regulation. Okay, there's going to be some kind of regulation after all this battle, even though they're fighting with XRP for years. So all of this together now might be really an open paved way for regulation in crypto. Now, if they lose, okay, if they lose, it's going to be a small crypto winter or whatever in the US only, because the rest of the world, Singapore, Hong Kong, UAE, they're all open to crypto. Europe even, they're gonna take these companies. These companies already moved their headquarters to Middle East, as I said, Singapore, Hong Kong. They're already moving out of the US, and that is a loss for the biggest economy, which is the US. They're actually just losing by doing this. But anyways, crypto will live. Crypto will continue. It will be a big, like if they actually lose, it's going to be a little bit of a big blow for crypto. Of course, we might see some lower prices. We might even create new lows. God knows what can happen. Let's see. Maybe none of that will happen. But the good thing is, these guys have so much money. They're literally fighting for you and me. We should actually say thank you to them. They're fighting for you and me with billions of dollars. They're gonna hire the best lawyers. They're gonna hire everything the best firms to represent them. And trust me, they're fighting with them with nuclears, okay? With nuclear weapon, which me and you, we don't have. We can't fight. These are the players who are representing us. Basically, it's us versus the government. And on another thing is, Gary Gensler will leave eventually. He will leave the SEC. Once he leaves, hopefully there will be somebody who comes who's better than him. I doubt it, but let's see. I don't doubt it in a sense like there's no better than him. No, of course there is, but I say I doubt it in a sense of those kind of persons on those kind of positions are always controlled by some other people with some other agendas. Is it the secret shadow government or whatever it is? I don't know, I don't care, but those people are always controlled. So whoever steps into the head of the SEC, it's going to be similar story probably. But anyways, maybe somebody else who's more open to crypto will step up. Somebody who's going to be better than Gary Gensler. That's my conclusion when it comes to this narrative. So this could be good thing because they're fighting with all the things that we don't have. They're at the core front. They're there with the billions of dollars. They're going to fight them till the end, trust me. So it's going to be a big battle. XRP, they couldn't win the XRP case. SEC couldn't win the XRP case, and they only invested like 150 million in the lawsuit or something. What's gonna happen when Coinbase and Binance comes with billions worth of dollars of lawyers and this and that and companies? They're gonna hire half of the freaking US lawyers. So Trust me, it's going to be a good thing for us. Robinhood will end support for 3 tokens named in SEC lawsuit. Those 3 tokens are going to be delisted, and they are ADA, Cardano, Matic, Polygon, and Solana. Robinhood, they showed their real face back in the GME days, GameStop days, and we know who they are. They show their real face. They're crooked. They just support the government systems, SEC, and all these guys. Whoever pays them more, whoever tells them what to do, they just do. They're against people, basically. So I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. Do whatever the hell you want, but I would never put a single dollar in a Robinhood account, even if I could. Luckily, I cannot from here, from United Arab Emirates. But even if I could, I wouldn't. Those are those slimy players in the industry, right? Who will do anything just to stay relevant and to be recognized by the law. So yeah, Robinhood, bastards. Anyway, and now Nigeria regulator halts Binance operations. So Nigeria was actually a big supporter for crypto, and it is, and we know that a lot of Bitcoin is being mined there and all this stuff, but basically, you know, money makes miracles and wonders, and the political pressures make wonders as well. So, you know, Binance is just one separate entity. It's not a government. It has nothing to do with any of the governments. I hope so. So, you know, probably Nigerians were being pressured into this. But anyways, this is also just to add up on all these bad news, and just to go quickly back to the chart. So even after all these bad news, look, we're still holding quite strong. After all these bad news, look at what happened actually. So we went from what? From 27 to 25K. So this is what I'm saying. Is this all they got? Like, they're not gonna destroy crypto. Crypto is not going anywhere. We might see a new low, new this. Also, there was one hedge fund who liquidated, I don't know how many billions of worth, Scimitar Capital or whatever. I don't know if that's even true. That I didn't verify that news. Billions of worth of altcoins. And they said like, we're closing our all positions, blah blah blah. Maybe they know something we don't know. Anyway guys, I'm not gonna keep this video too long. It's probably already too long. I wish you a great week ahead. Stay tuned. Do not trade before the Fed makes the interest rate decision. Only then enter some trades. And I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the next video in the same time. Peace.